White opens by playing e4, which is the most popular opening move and has a many strength. It is immediately stakes a clam in the center and frees two bishop for in action. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you the traps played by e4 pawn. So let's get into the video right away. Let's move on the first game, e4, e5, and white brings his bishop to bishop c4. Black plays bishop c5, developing a piece and attack on f2 square. Then we have a trap, d4. Now black simply capture with either a bishop and pawn. First, pawn takes pawn, then the bishop takes a f7 square and check, king capture a bishop, and queen h5 check, and also attack on a bishop. Black plays g6, white simply capture a bishop and attack on a d4 pawn. Black brings his knight on a c6 and support the pawn. Then white plays knight f3, double attack on a pawn, d6, check, bishop e6. Then the stunning move, knight g5 check, and bishop is gone. The white gets a slightly advantage and whites have a winning position. Let's go back. Let's meet the second trap. If bishop takes pawn, then white goes with c3, bishop b3, and queen d5. After queen d5, mate in one position. The only move for black is queen f6, knight f3, double attack on a pawn, d6, bishop g5, queen g6, and knight capture e5 pawn. After this move, blacks have no chances to survive. If pawn takes knight, then queen d8 is checkmate. Let's go back. Now, this is a winning position for white. Lots of threats to black. If black capture a bishop, then queen takes pawn and check, king d1, and queen f8 is checkmate. Let's go back. If black plays queen e6, then knight f7, queen capture queen, bishop takes queen, and c6, bishop b3, h6, bishop h4, g5, bishop g3, rook h7. After a knight takes d6, then one of the both pieces is freely captured after a king move. Here's the third trap, an Italian game, two knight defense, and I also show you how to beat this and win the game. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4. If black plays knight f6, then knight g5, support the pawn and also attack on f7 pawn. Black plays d4, pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn, and knight capture f7 pawn. Then king capture a knight and queen f3 check. Then black's king have a many square to move. King e6 support the knight, king e8, queen f6, king g8. First king e8, then a bishop capture knight and mate in one. Queen f6, then bishop capture a knight c6, queen capture bishop, and queen capture a queen, pawn capture a queen. Black's position totally destroyed. If black plays king e6, support the knight. White brings up his knight to c3, attack on a knight, knight b4, also support the knight and attack on c2 pawn, castling, c6, support the knight. White plays d4, knight capture c2 pawn, pawn takes pawn, knight capture a rook, and then rook d1, knight c2, knight capture a knight, pawn capture a knight, and bishop capture a pawn, check. Now king have only one move, king e7, because if king moves on a d-file. Then after a bishop moves, black lost his queen. Then black plays king e7. Then queen f7 is totally winning. Now here's the fourth trap of Ponziani opening with e4, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and c3. This is known as a Ponziani opening, knight f6 and d4. Black capture unsupported pawn e4, d5. It's a killer move, an interesting move. Attack on a knight. If black plays knight a5, then b4 and knight is trapped. Let's go back. So knight e7, then knight capture e5 pawn, d3. White brings the bishop to bishop b5 and check. Then black plays c6 pawn. Pawn takes pawn. Blacks have so many options to capture this pawn. Knight capture pawn, pawn takes pawn, and also pawn takes knight. If queen b6 is played, then again a pawn takes a pawn. It's a check. Bishop d7, bishop capture bishop, king d8, and promote the queen. It's a totally winning position for white. If pawn capture a knight, then pawn capture pawn. It's a check. Bishop saves the check. Now bishop capture bishop, check. Queen capture bishop, and white promote the queen. It's a check. Then knight c8. Queen capture queen. King capture queen, and queen capture knight. It's a totally winning position for white, and white's having some advantage. If knight captures c6 pawn, white also takes a knight, pawn takes knight, bishop takes a knight, and bishop d7. Then also bishop attacks on both rook and knight. But bishop takes knight is good for white. Now white have extra piece and white's having some advantage. Now here's the fifth trap. Sacrifice the queen and win the match. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop b5. This opening is Roy Lopez. Knight f6, castling, and knight g4. White plays rook e1, support the pawn. Black plays bishop c5. Anyone think over it and play a d4. Then knight capture d4. White also capture black's knight, causing a white queen attack on knight. But instead of that, queen h4. After queen h4, black has in serious trouble. To save his knight, black plays f3 and also saves the pawn. Then queen capture f2 pawn, check, king h1, and then stunning move queen g8 is a check. If rook capture queen or knight capture queen, then rook capture queen, then knight f2 is checkmate. Now here's the sixth trap. It's a very interesting and some of your daily chess opening game. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop c4, knight f6, then knight g5. Both knight and bishop also attack on f7 square. Then black capture e4 pawn. If white capture knight, then simply d4, capture one piece both of them. Let's go back. But it's a normal. Knight capture a f7 pawn. Attack on both queen and rook. Then black plays a aggressive move. Queen h4 is a best move, mate in one for black. If g3 is played, then knight capture g3, pawn capture g3, and queen e4 check. If the saving a check with bishop and queen, if bishop e2, then queen capture h1, it's a check, bishop f1, again queen e4 check, bishop e2, and king capture f7 knight. Now in this position black have some advantage. If white plays king f2, save the rook, then simply bishop c5 check, then king f1, queen capture rook, king e2, then knight d4 is check, and queen is trapped. Here's the 7 trap. Sacrifice your queen and mate. Let's see. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and knight c3. Most of the player plays g6 and open the bishop diagonal, and then knight f6 and then castle protect the king. Now here's the same idea. Black continuing g6, d4, bishop g7, and also support the pawn. White plays bishop g5, attack on queen. If black plays knight f6, then pawn takes pawn, so knight e7. Then the aggressive move is knight d5. Pawn takes pawn, then the knight capture a d4. If knight takes knight, then queen is trapped. Let's go back. Now here's the only one move, bishop takes knight. In that position, what is the best move continuation for white? Queen capture bishop. Knight capture queen, then the stunning move, knight f6 check, king f8, and bishop h6 is a checkmate. So here's the puzzle. Can you solve this puzzle? Blacks move first and mate in a 3 or 4 moves. If you able to solve these puzzles, then share it in the comments below. I will give you the correct answer with the solution. Don't forget to like and subscribe for this channel for some interesting chess tricks and puzzles. See you in the next video. Will coming soon.